Happy Monday, big waves to you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. All right. Well, we hope everybody had an amazing Canada Day last week, 4th of July, Independence Day on Saturday. I know I did. So thankful for everybody on this call that comes in and tunes in every day. Good to see you, Dave Kirtley, out in San Francisco. All right. So we're going to kick off the day with what's your expectation for the week? Expectation, expectation. So that's the word for today. Good to see everybody. And I want to say this. So if you look at the word, if you look at expectation, and first of all, we did not see any birthdays today. So if it is your birthday, please let us know. Please let us know. A strong belief that something will happen or that someone should behave or perform in a certain way. So, expectation. And Andrea, I'm going to kick it off this morning by saying this. So, this took me back to the coaching days, and hopefully, we're zeroed in this morning to pay attention to this. But a gentleman that I consider to have much, much wisdom when I was in the coaching profession once told me as a young coach, he said, I don't know of any coaches that don't expect to win. I don't know any great leader that doesn't expect Marlene to win. I don't know of any great business person that ever expects not to win. Like they expect to win. He said, but I'm going to give you something to always remember. And I'm listening as this young coach, and he said, if you want to win in any area, especially coaching, you better find a way to treat the worst player on the team as good as the best. And I thought, wow. And as I looked at expectation today, I thought, you know what? You're coming in this morning, there's expectations in your life, just like there is in mine. And you go, Brent, I don't know why the good Lord put it on me to say that's the question that I'm really asking you this morning. Are you treating the worst player on your team as good as the best? Because so many times we're expecting, right? We're expecting all this stuff. But like, is it aligning? Is it, Andrea, I'm getting confused a little bit because I feel like that this message hit me today because as a young coach, it was hard to treat the worst player on my team as good as the best, right? Because sometimes you focus on the best, right? But sometimes it's all of the people that's working and they're fighting to level up that you really need to get in there in the trenches with too. Okay. And the longer I was a coach, the more this really came back to me. Like sometimes you can have the greatest expectations in life, but if you're not focused on the people that sometimes are not the best, you're not going to win the championships. If you're just out there looking for the best, sometimes we let all these other people that need us, right? They help us win too. So anyway, I don't know why the good Lord put that on my heart to share this morning, but as I was reading expectations, it really I'm like, I got to figure out a way to bring this in. So, and I believe that every one of us have expectations like family, work, health, future. And sometimes um, expectations like it influences our mindset, our actions, and ultimately our results. So, Andrew, I'm going to turn it to you. I'm going to finish my thoughts here in just a second. As you can tell, I really struggled with this morning. Like sometimes a word of the day hits you a different way, right? And so this one hit me a different way today. And Andrea's not.
Oh,
She's
I didn't know you
there.
were
You
I
go.
thought
Now
you
you're
said,
unmuted.
I'm so sorry. I thought you said you were going to turn it to me once you finished your thought.
No,
So
no,
I
no,
was
no. I'm
waiting.
collecting more of my thoughts. Okay.
Well, I think this is a pretty powerful word because all I can think when I see this word is, Coach, how many times have you asked me, like, is this reality or are you creating a Chevy Chase moment? And I think I might say his name wrong, but we're just gonna move past that. But anybody else like plan a day? And you're like, oh my gosh, the kids and I, or my person and I, we're going to wake up and it's going to be like rainbows and butterflies. And then we're going to drink the perfect cup of coffee. Like it is going to be the best coffee we've ever had in our life. And then the dogs aren't going to bark at any neighbors. And then we're not going to walk through the neighborhood. We're going to skip. We're going to gallivant through the neighborhood. And like you picture, we're going to go look at fireworks and nobody's going to have a meltdown and nobody's going to get hungry when they didn't need to get hungry or have to go to the bathroom. Or we're going to go on this road trip and everybody's going to be happy the entire time. And we build up am I the only one that builds up these expectations in our head? And they're not reality, right? They're absolutely not reality. And then we get incredibly upset because our expectations weren't met. But what I'm going to say is that, and this is going to be a world famous quote someday, but this is an Andrea Rosser quote, and it's unspoken expectations are the creator of disappointment. Like if you don't know that I'm expecting you to invite me inside, well, then I'm going to walk away disappointed, but it's my own fault because I didn't say, hey, you should invite me in, right? Like that is my responsibility. And so what I looked into, and Coach, we do have a birthday today. So I expect
Saw
us all
that. I
to
saw that.
sing a beautiful happy birthday to our very favorite Dawn Frazier because it's her birthday today. But what I looked into is how do we express our expectations so we don't get disappointed? So first of all, Andrea Rosser has to be really honest about what I actually need. Like, I think that, well, I'm going to say some of us might be a little bit hyper independent sometimes, and we have a hard time trusting others to meet our needs. So when somebody says, what do you need right now? We say nothing, nothing, nothing. Read my mind. What I'm really saying, read my mind. That's what I need. I need you to read my mind. But guess what? I'm so grateful that nobody can. And you're grateful too, because it's a mess in here, right? So I have to be honest with other people because before I can expect somebody to understand me, I have to say what I'm actually needing in that moment. Two, I've got to say it clearly instead of hoping they figure it out. People, as we said, are not mind readers. So I have to have clear communication. Guess what? Clear. I can't even say it. How clear can we communicate if we can't say the words? We're going to try that again. We're going to take a deep breath. Clear communication protects relationships. So if I use clear communication, if I can say it, well, then that's going to help me protect my relationships that actually matter. Next, I want to use kind and direct language because guess what? This, I think sometimes we get a little bit confused, but we can be honest without being harsh. Like those things do not have to be the same. So I can try saying something like, it would really help me if, or what I'm hoping for is, and that is direct language, but it's still kind. Next, I can explain a little bit of the why behind the expectation. So when people understand why something matters to us, they're more likely to respond with actual care instead of just thinking that we're being a little bit nuts. And I saw something that I thought was pretty profound where it said when there's like kind of a misunderstanding in our expectations, it's because we put different value on it. Like I might think something's really important. You might think it's just something on a to-do list and it's just a little task where I think it's actually a value. And if there's not aligned expectations where I say this is something important to me, well, then you're not going to know that it's important to me. Next, and this goes back to that day with the kids, I've got to make sure that my expectations are realistic. If we go to the zoo for 8 hours, there's really only one of us that's going to be getting a lot of joy out of this activity. So I better break it up with coffee breaks and ice cream and other entertainment for the kids because I'm the only one in my household that's going to look at animals for 8 hours straight and think this is the greatest thing ever. So I've got to make sure that my expectations are realistic. I've got to ask instead of assume. I'm not going to say what my dad said around the word assume, but you guys can kind of figure it out, like what that does if I assume what that makes me. So instead of assuming that someone's on the same page, ask them, does this work for you? Is this something you're able to do? Does this align with what's important to you? And then with that, give people room to respond honestly because healthy expectations actually leave space in that relationship, in that conversation for everybody to be seen and felt and nobody to feel pressure or guilt in that. And coach, I'm watching you to see if you got your thought, if you're ready to jump back in or if I'm just keep going. So we're just keep going. And then with that, receive somebody else's answer without rewriting it in your mind. Anybody else guilty of this where we hear somebody says, "Oh, that sounds great," and we then add in some meaning to that where, well, you know what? They said it sounded great, but the look on their face, they didn't really think it was great. I bet. And we fill in all this other nonsense in our head instead of actually believing what they said. So clarity might sting a little bit if we ask those questions of, do you really want to do this? But that absolutely prevents a bigger hurt later. And then lastly, adjust when needed. Expectations may shift, right? As our circumstances change. If somebody's sick, I can't expect them to go gallivant through the neighborhood. Like it's not going to work that way. So flexibility keeps our expectations from being in control and allowing us to live in a place of disappointment. So that's what I had today, Coach. Did you have any clarifying
Great
thoughts?
lesson. No, I got all tongue-tied today, but I think at the
Me
end of the
too.
day, really where my lesson is, and is expectation like who today can we reach out to, right? Like I think about years ago, I was told like walk slowly through the crowd, like see people, like spend time with people, like give people a hug, like even like if they're not like if they haven't had big wins, right? Does that make sense, Andrea? Like so at the end of the day, it takes us all and we got to see each other. So who today can we reach out to go, you know what? I'm going to see them today. I'm going to see them where they're at, what they're doing, tell them that they matter. Because at the end of the day, if I'm expecting to win, if I'm expecting to grow, if I'm expecting to grow in business and all these different areas, it takes us all to make that happen, right? So, anyway, that's kind of where I was headed today. Andrea, thanks for the word. And Dawn, it is your birthday. We hope you have the most amazing day ever. So we're going to sing to you. Here we go.
Happy
Happy birthday,
birthday
Don.
to
Happy
you.
birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday to
birthday
you.
Happy birthday to
Birthday to
you.
you.
Don.
Happy
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 birthday
Happy
to
birthday.
you.
Happy
Birthday.
Happy
birthday,
dear
birthday.
Dawn.
Happy
Birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you.
birthday.
And many more.
Miss you.
Congratulations
Love
to
you,
you,
Don.
Lady
Happy
Too.
Happy
birthday, Don.
birthday,
Happy
Don.
birthday.
Also see Cynthia Murray over there. Congratulations, Cynthia.